Hi, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How. Daily, I bring you a different way to get stuff done. How to get stuff done. And today I have a special treat for you. It's something people talk about, but they have very mixed feelings about. It's called money. And this is the Money Hunt Pet, which is a way of trying to look at how you can grow your revenue, grow your organization's capability to influence things, and by finding money. So let's jump onto Cube, and I'm going to walk you through the Money Hunt. That's the first thing to do. So welcome to Cube, where, as you know, the sun is always shining. Look, the clouds are moving, the sun's outside. And I'm going to take you up to this whiteboard. This is one of my favorite cubicles. I love this cubicle. It's huge. I love the space in it. Anyway, moving on. So let's start the session on money by recognizing that a lot of these ideas come out of my book, The Money Making Machine, which I've always found very amusing because this is one of the books which it's the only book I've had where I've had negative reviews because people have very strange relationships with money. For example, they'll tell you things like, money is the root of all evil. So people are worried about money. I remember when I told my mum, who was effectively working with the UN, she'd always worked in government, in research and stuff, that I was going to become an entrepreneur. She was so worried because her relationship with money was, oh, it's something scary and frightening. And a lot of people have that relationship. So even when they're in an enterprise, it's a big challenge. So the first thing you have to realize is that money is really quite central to us living the way we live. Let me jump on here and draw a little bit for you. So let's say, for example, we've got here, this is, I don't know, Bertha, the bread maker. So this is a loaf of bread. That's my attempt at a loaf of bread. And this is Charles, the cow person. Okay, this is Charles, and he has a cow. I can't draw a cow. They have heads like that. They have legs. Okay, that's cow-like. Okay, so he's a cow person. Okay, so this is Charlie, and this is Brenda. Okay, and in the past, what would happen is Brenda would have her bread. Charlie would want some bread, but Charlie didn't have anything to offer Brenda except the whole cow, and so you could never trade. So you had this this headache where the term is double coincidence of wants, where nothing would happen because barter is really difficult. Or maybe they'd write on a piece of paper here, Brenda can have meat for a whole year. And that's the start of what's called a promissory note, which is the basis of money. So money is what happens as a way of allowing people not to have to barter, but allowing them to still transact. So that's the first thing. Remember that it's not a bad thing on its own. If you have money, the one thing to remember, and this is from a chap called Alex Neil, who used to be a trader. And one of the things he talks about, Anton Neil, I can never remember these things. One of the things he talks about is he says, what do you think of this money? And he'll ask people about money. And people say, oh, this is enough for a pint of beer or something like that. And he'll ask them different amounts. So what do you think about this amount of money? Oh, I can buy a friend a pint of beer, and so on and so forth. And he goes through that process, and then he turns around and says, and what do you think the money thinks of you? And of course, the money doesn't think anything of you. Of course it doesn't. It's just money. So it's a tool for us to use. So your emotional relationship, your view on money is quite important in terms of your ability to use it. Basically, what it allows you to do is if one person has something and somebody else has this money lark, okay, then the person with the money looks at the thing and says, I want that. And the person with the thing looks at the money and says, I want that. And they swap. And they no longer have to barter or worry about any of the details associated with trying to get stuff done because they can actually just get on and transact. And so we have a complex world with many things in it. Now, here's the thing to remember. All your money is in somebody else's pocket. I know it sounds crazy, but all the money which you need for your enterprise is in somebody else's pocket. It's in the pocket of a client, it's in the pocket of a customer, it's in the pocket of a consumer. All the money you ever need is in somebody else's pocket, but it's your money. It's not their money. It's your money. They're just holding it for you until you find something you can give them of use or of service. And then they go, here's the money I was holding for you. That's the way to think about it. And that's what happens in a money hunt. We have to try to remember that other people decide the value. In their heads, they look at, what will I get for this? Value equals benefits. What will I get for this? Minus cost. How much money am I willing to give up? And that's the equation they're doing in their heads in order to allow them to hand over to you your money. Let's go on a hunt. So why would anyone hand you money? Why would anyone give you some money? Well, there seem to be a number of sources of money. The first one is the really obvious one. And if you tell people, they always go, yeah, of course it is. Don't be silly, Eddie. Which is, if you give some people something tangible, like these apples, they often will give you money. It's easy to understand. And in most organizations, if your business is set up to make tangibles, let's say, for example, you make pens or you make, I don't know, boxes or whatever it else, the whole organization thinks in terms of the number of boxes sold. So that's how they think about making their money. That permeates the culture. So you almost can't imagine people would pay you money for anything else. If you're selling cars, you imagine people just want to buy your cars. You don't think about what they actually want with it. There's another famous story where they talk about people buying drill bits, drill bits. And the question is, when you're buying a drill bit, what are you buying? And the answer is you're buying a hole. So if you're in a situation where you're selling drill bits, you'll count the number of drill bits. You'll be thinking about drill bits, tangibles. You won't think about what the customer wants. But remember, the customer is holding your money for you until you give them something you want. So that's the first one. The other reason people will give you money is this one here, which is quite intriguing, which is if you give them health advice, information, an enjoyable experience, or anything like that, which is like service, they will give you money. Now, in the old days, when you helped a neighbor, when you helped someone out, you didn't charge them because that was just the culture. That was neighborliness. That was almost being Christian and so on. So you didn't do that. But as the world has evolved, we find more and more people will pay money for informatized services. That's why you pay your subscription for, Perplexity AI, Grok, Gemini, because you want a service. You want something to help you, advice, and so on. So this is something else. Now, if you traditionally sell service, it wouldn't occur to you that you could actually make money by also putting it in the tangible. So, for example, everyone buys the AI, they just download it. But if I was selling an AI product, I probably have, instead of you doing it on your phone, I probably have a little box which you can put on your head or something like that, which is another 500 quid. That would be buying a tangible if you wanted it, as well as the service. So sources of money, first thing to realize just from those two, most organizations get caught up in what they produce and forget the value which the customer is after. So there's always an opportunity to persuade more people to dig into their pockets and hand over your money if you can think about what they actually would like from you. Third reason people give you money is you'll have seen this. You get a t-shirt, white t-shirt. You just buy a white t-shirt. How much? $1, a pound, something like that. You get a white t-shirt with a cat or a crocodile or I don't know, whatever on here. Suddenly it's $100. Does that mean the little logo here, which has been sewn on, is that $99? No. What you're buying there is not the logo. You're buying the idea, the part of being the club of people who dress like that, the aura, the exchange, the brand. People recognize you. Whoa, you got one of those things. So again, having a brand, people give you money because they want to be part of the club. Giving them information, help, advice, giving them something tangible. And again, you probably would put a brand on top of your product. So you say, these apples are Eddie's apples. Eddie's apples are always tasty. Then you have an extra thing you sell. So you go, are these apples? Yeah, but they're Eddie's apples. No, Eddie's apples are an extra 5 quid. So always remember that all you're doing is serving other people. And the way you serve them is you make sure you provide them with something which is valuable to them. And then they just literally put their hands in their pockets and give you their money. That's the way it works. So the other thing people will give you money for is this one here. I've got some bouncers. I think this is funny. Bouncers outside the church. Okay, so these are bouncers, but they also will give you money for access to somebody else's, your own time. What's marketing? Basically you're paying money so that you get access to somebody else's attention or time. So that's another thing which you will find that people will pay to be in a club or something like that. So that's quite a common thing. And then the final one they'll give you money for is this one, risk removal. If insurance, for example, if you take away their problems, they tend to give you money for that because they go, oh, yeah, life's more certain. Financial markets, when you buy futures and stuff, that's all risk removal and so on. So they'll give you money for those things as well. Now, risk removal also has a subcategory, which is you'll pay people money like accountants so that you don't have to pay so most countries, they have like a government, and the government is like has a monopoly on violence, and therefore they can ask you for money and you have to give it to them. It's called tax. Okay. And so most people will pay you to try and reduce the amount of tax because they don't want, who wants to give money away when somebody's asking them or insisting they do. In theory, the money is supposed to go to the homeless and to helping people. I don't know about your country, but my country, that's not where it goes. So nobody, not even good people, want to give the money away to this monopoly of violence anymore. So these are the reasons people give you money. Now, if you're looking at your organization, you're going, how do I get them to give me more money? There are two questions you ask. The first one on the top row in this diagram here is basically ask yourself the question, okay, so we know what we provide. So let's say, for example, you're a manufacturing company. This is you. Your name is, okay, let's pretend that's your name. And so you're here quite happily sitting over here, tangibles. Then you go, what could we do? We could help people install the kit. I mean, I bought a lawnmower recently, and the chap came and installed the kit and showed me, and we went on the lawn and he helped me to cut the grass. He charged me money for installing it. Fine, I was happy because now I knew how to set this new machine up and everything else. So in their organization, the question is, yeah, we're selling a lawnmower, but can we offer this at a lower expense to us? Probably not, because the guy had to waste more time. More likely, it was more value to me. So I would pay the extra 10 quid for him to come and set it up. So what you're doing is you're asking the question, which of these other things over and above what we currently do can we add in to give more value to people because they like it more, or to reduce the costs to us? And how might we do that so that the customers, the clients, the consumers are really delighted, and then they will take our money out of their pockets and hand it to us. So guys, that's MMM, Money Making Machine, Sources of Money. And go and have a look at what you offer at the moment. Many of you are on LinkedIn, you're offering coaching services, but can you offer coaching services with something concrete, tangible? Or could you offer coaching services with risk removal? I'll coach you, and if you don't make any money, then you don't have to pay me. Or better still, I'll pay you so that when you will get a cut of what you go and do differently. I don't know. I've been Eddie Obeng. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you read the newsletter. There's a quick guide. There's always a quick guide. And go and hunt for some money.